We live in a world where facts and truth are under siege. A new book takes a deep dive into the rise of conspiracy theories online and what can be done to counter them. Stephen Brill joins us now. He is the co-founder of NewsGuard, which rates the reliability of news and information websites. He is also the author of a brand new book titled The Death of Truth. So, Stephen, great to see you. Let's start with the title of the book. The Death of Truth. Is truth dead or merely in a coma?
I'm glad you asked. I would prefer to say it's in a coma because, as you know, I spend a good part of the book trying to explain how to take it out of that coma. So
what put it in the coma?
Lost.
Yeah. What put it in the coma in the first place?
I think a combination of four things, some of which are easily appreciated. One is that when the social media platforms picked up steam and started getting the millions and hundreds of millions of participants, it turns out that they created algorithms, as we now know, that were engineered to send people to the most inflammatory content, because that's what got the most eyeballs. And inflammatory content meant, for example, as I explained in the book, that in 2013, a young woman out in Silicon Valley who had just had a newborn baby goes online on Facebook, innocently just trying to get some information about what's the vaccine regimen my baby ought to have, and she's stunned to find this vituperative debate over the safety of the most benign vaccines, measles vaccines, and she can't believe it. And the more she reads this stuff, the more she's sent other content debating other seemingly not debatable issues, like whether jet planes cause chemical entrails that cause blizzards, all this crazy stuff. So it's the social media platforms becoming the source of news and not reliable news for so many people so much of the time, to what's something that probably a lot of your viewers don't know much about, which is programmatic advertising, which replaces the kind of advertising decisions we always used to be used to, where advertisers would decide, I really want to be on CBS News, right, not on this local channel, or I want to be in this magazine or newspaper, not that one, where it's all done by automated algorithm, and it's done based on auction, and it goes to the lowest bidder gets your eyeballs. And the result of that is that hoax news, Russian disinformation, gets billions of dollars in ad revenue, which finances all this stuff. And then with those two factors are the demagogues and the hoaxsters and the conspiracy theorists who take advantage of those two things and create the environment that we're now in. And the last piece of it is the people who are susceptible to those demagogues and hucksters for whom the system has sort of stopped working, and they want to believe in easier solutions, or solutions that just aren't solutions at all, such as COVID is a hoax, I don't have to take this vaccine. And we end up in a situation where 225,000 more people died in the United States than would have if the take-up rate for the COVID vaccine had been what it normally would be for these kinds of vaccines.
Stephen, you talk in your book about another story that I want to give you the building blocks of, and then I want you to flesh out for our viewers. John Dugan, Palm Beach, Russia, bioweapons, Ukraine.
Sure. John Dugan is a guy who we at NewsGuard got to know because he had been indicted in Florida for extortion and hacking, fled to Russia, and was accepted there, was given asylum there, and ended up becoming a high-level Russian disinformation operative. And when NewsGuard reported that one of his, quote, documentaries, unquote, which was, fake news, was the one that said that there was a secret bioweapons lab in Ukraine When he published that on YouTube, it gave the Russians one of the excuses they wanted to have to invade Ukraine. And when we published the fact that YouTube was still featuring that documentary, YouTube took it off. He got angry and launched a series of threats against me and my family in New York from his studio in Moscow. He put up a YouTube that showed a aerial view of my home, talked about my family, talked about where we live, and it became a really uncomfortable set of threats. And he's still operating from Moscow. In fact, we just did a report that he now has developed, if you can believe it, 167 fake local news websites, websites operating as supposed local news sites in the United States, all pushing divisive, Russian propaganda in advance of the elections this fall.
And just to put a pin in it, Stephen, that quote-unquote documentary about the bioweapons lab was in no way a documentary.
Yeah, thank you for putting that pin in it. I should have done that. Yes. There is no bioweapons lab in Ukraine. It's all a figment of the Russians' very fertile imagination, or John Dugan's fertile imagination. But it's accompanied by video and deep fakes and all this stuff that we've now started to become more familiar with.
Truth is not dead, but it is in something approximating a coma. Stephen Brill, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.